Welcome to the weekly tarot forecast for the Numinous week beginning August the 17th. I'm Lindsay Mack, and the card that I've pulled for us this week is King of Swords. So we are officially out of retrograde season, or eclipse season. We're about to end our time in Mercury retrograde, where it will go direct and kind of hang out in the shadow period for a little bit. King of Swords is... Any king represents a space of leadership. And by the way, the kings are for everybody. So if you identify as a woman, a man, if you do not identify as either, kings are for you. They're not necessarily men, and they're not necessarily just for masculine identifying folk. Really, it's about leadership. The kings have within themselves a containment of all the suits that have come before it. So all the elements and all the court cards, the pages, the knights and the queens, they all come wrapped in a full package with those inside of them. So they have foundation to them. Kings can lead because they have experience. Because they're ruled by fire, there's a kind of a center of passion and of mastery that is represented in any king. So whenever we pull one, we want to understand that we're being called to do something greater in the world, whether that kind of manifests itself as being very, very small and subtle or very, very big. So King of Swords has this kind of interesting and beautiful connection to Mercury retrograde and Mercury going direct, because the King of Swords has to do with speaking our truth. So this week, in whatever way this resonates with you, in whatever way this comes up for you, we are all going to be invited on a collective and personal level to speak our truth. When we are in the medicine of the King of Swords, we're invited to speak a truth that starts in the heart. And I'm talking about truth with a capital T, not that our feelings and our experiences are not worthy and valid of just as much airtime and space as our truth is. Feelings and thoughts and beliefs and experiences are not always actually the truth. Sometimes they are feelings. They're not necessarily facts. That's part of our work that we do. So with that being said, what's really important to begin to consider and think about with this is the energy of what is a truth within us that we're ready to speak. Usually when it's the truth, it's a little hard to say, because the truth is so powerful. It has the capacity to rock things. It's like oil. If you put it in water, it's going to float. We're always going to know what the truth is. That's typically because we might not want to let it out of us. So having said that, whatever you might feel like you have a little bit of resistance around sharing or expressing or speaking, just be gentle with yourself, but know that if it's in there, if it's in the heart, if there's something that you really need to say to a friend, or something that you really need to say to the people that you serve, or it could be an exciting thing. Have you been incubating something that's ready to be shared? Have you been exploring a theme in your work that's ready to be expressed to others so that they can be rocked and they can take your truth and it can change the way that they think about things? This is a time of major revelations and uncoverings. I mean, it's a time when everyone has to confront their own humanness, their own mistakes, their own shadow stuff. And when we are confronted with the shadow things in others in a way that they may affect us or not, and when we speak up about them, it gives other people an opportunity to do the same. So King of Swords is a deep healer card insofar as how it relates to the truth, how it relates to our truth, how it relates to the truth that we've come to through our process. So the King of Swords always has a truth that lives in the heart that needs to come up through the throat. When it does, other people are healed by the truth that comes from us, then their truth can be heard. So truly, and I think it bears repeating, this could literally be like you've thought of a new way to incorporate like breath work with some kind of modality, and when you share that, people come because they're interested. It could be a very happy thing. Sometimes King of Swords has to do with a truth that we're meant to tell that can serve others in ways that it's not necessarily such a heavy thing. So I just encourage everyone listening to this to check in with themselves this week. What have you learned since Mercury retrograde? Like, what have you learned? What have you absorbed, understood about yourself? Whatever that might be for you, it's important to begin to share if anything feels ready to be shared. And that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.